Hey there! Welcome to the first of 4 videos where we break down what happens when someone gets sentenced in court. Today, we're talking about the big reasons why courts hand out sentences. Let's dive into the aims of sentencing, as outlined in Section 142 of the Criminal Justice Act 2003. And it's important to remember the name of the act if you want to score full marks on your exam. All of the following 4 videos could be assessed as separate 8-mark questions in the OCR examination, so pay close attention. Okay, so when someone's in court for doing something they shouldn't have, the judge doesn't just throw a dart at a dartboard to decide what happens next, although that would be wild. Instead, there are specific goals they have to keep in mind. Let's check them out. First up, punishment. Imagine you sneakily eat your siblings' candy stash and get caught. You'd expect some sort of payback, right? Well, that's what punishment is about. It's making sure the person who broke the rules faces some consequences. It's like the court saying, "No more candy for you," only on a much bigger scale. For example, in 2018, a man in the UK was sentenced to 14 years in prison for committing armed robbery. This sentence served as a punishment for his crime, making sure he faced the consequences of his actions. The idea is that punishment reflects society's disapproval of the crime and upholds justice. Next, we have reducing crime, which includes something called deterrence. Now, deterrence is basically about scaring people off from doing something wrong. It comes in 2 flavors: individual deterrence and general deterrence. Individual deterrence is like when your friend gets grounded for sneaking out and you think, "Whoa, I'm not gonna do that." It's about stopping that specific person from reoffending. General deterrence is like when the school makes an example out of someone to send a message to everyone else. Don't even think about it. This one's aimed at the whole crowd, making sure everyone is too scared to commit the same crime. A real-world example is the use of fines for speeding. When someone is caught speeding and fined, it's meant to deter them from speeding again, individual deterrence, and also sends a message to other drivers that they could be fined too if they break the speed limit, general deterrence. Now, let's talk about reform and rehabilitation, fancy words for helping someone get back on the right track. Picture this. You keep forgetting to do your chores, so your parents make you do them with extra supervision until you get the hang of it. That's what the court tries to do with offenders, help them learn from their mistakes so they can do better next time. For example, courts often use something called a community order to help with rehabilitation. This means the offender has to do things like unpaid work, attend treatment programs, or follow a curfew. A real-world case involved a young person convicted of drug possession who was given a community order that required them to attend a drug rehabilitation program. This helped them overcome their addiction and avoid further trouble with the law. This is a great example you might see in your exams, so it's a good one to remember. Protecting the public is another big one. Imagine there's a bear on the loose in your neighborhood. Yikes. The authorities would make sure it's captured so no one gets hurt. Similarly, the court might decide to lock someone up or place restrictions on them to keep everyone else safe. A real-world example of this is the use of restraining orders. In a case of domestic violence, the court might issue a restraining order against the offender, preventing them from contacting the victim. This helps protect the victim and the public from potential harm. Lastly, we've got reparation. This is all about making things right. Let's say you accidentally broke your friend's favorite toy. You'd probably try to fix it or buy them a new one, right? Courts can order offenders to do something similar, like paying compensation to the victim or doing community service to make up for what they did. For example, in a case where someone was convicted of vandalizing property, the court might order them to pay for the damages or perform community service to repair the harm done. This helps the offender take responsibility and make amends for their actions. And there you have it. These 5 aims help judges figure out what sentence makes the most sense. And don't forget, all of this is straight from the Criminal Justice Act 2003, so it's the real deal. Legal update. In your exam, it's crucial to use the correct Act of Parliament when discussing sentencing. When you get to Section 3, make sure you use the exact wording from the Act. You must say that the aim is the reduction of crime. Do not say the aim is deterrence. The reason for this is simple. The examiner needs to know you're referring to the correct and current legislation. If you say the aim is deterrence instead of the reduction of crime, you could lose marks because it might suggest you're using outdated legislation. Of course, you still need to explain deterrence as part of the overall aim of reducing crime. Just make sure you use the precise words from the Act to ensure you get full credit for your answer. In our next video, we'll explore the different types of sentences courts can give out, so stick around. You won't want to miss it.